Hey, what's up, everybody? My name is Greg. Welcome to the channel. Today, I wanted to talk about how intentions attract energy. So, this has been a long belief within shamanism, but shamanisms throughout the cultures throughout the world have always known this, that your intentions attract energy. Um, like I'm thinking back, I've been thinking back on my own life and thinking like when I was a child in my neighborhood. I must have been maybe 7, 8 years old or something, and I was playing with my friends, riding bikes around the neighborhood and all that. I remember there was this new kid that moved in at the end of the block. I lived kind of in the center of the block. New kid moved in at the towards the end of the block on the corner, and I never knew him. I didn't get to know him at all. But as the weeks went by, when he first moved there, I guess he started making friends with some of the people, some of the other kids around the other blocks around there. So I didn't know everybody in the whole neighborhood. I didn't hang out with everyone within the 4 or 5 block radius. But I remember him spreading, I guess, spreading rumors. I don't know what you want to call it at that age. But he had ended up telling, I guess, some of my friends, or it got to some of my friends, like him just basically saying, "Hey, I don't like that guy. I want to fight him. You know, I have a problem with that guy." And it was kind of weird. I remember after he had said that, they had told me that, I was like, "What? Whatever." I really didn't even care. Like, so what? At that time, I was really enjoying my life, and everything was fun and games, and I didn't have that kind of awareness of wanting to start trouble with people. So I remember after he had said that, first time I seen him again, I was riding my bike down the block, and passing by his house, and he was outside right there, and he just stopped what he was doing, and he was just looking at me. And I looked back at him, I just looked at him kind of like without any thought about, this guy's got something with me, what's up, or, oh man, I'm scared, this guy's whatever, I didn't think anything of it. I was like, well, I just looked back at him until finally I couldn't look at him no more because I was driving away, and he didn't do nothing or say anything or body language or anything. And when I turned away, I didn't like give a smirk or any reaction or anything like that. I just kept on going to my friend's house. And as time went by, this guy just stopped looking at me, stopped messing with me. Well, he wasn't really messing with me ever, but he kind of just stopped his whole intention of not liking me or whatever you want to call it. You know what I mean? So like I had no intention of starting trouble with this guy or even being his friend at that point. I just had a blank mind, and I was like, well, whatever. And what happened is he drifted away. He drifted out of my life. I never became his friend. He lived there for years and years and years and years. And that's I'm innocent at that point, 8 or 9 years old, whatever. Now when I think about back on my life, when I start getting into like high school, then the testosterone starts flowing. I'm learning from my environment, the neighborhood I grew up in, Los Angeles area. Everybody, all the men are burying their emotions. They're acting hard. They're not being open about what they're really feeling. They act like they're not bothered by anything. Which is just, you see that everywhere with men. Wherever you're raised, is a real. It's called macho-ness, but it's totally unhealthy. So having those kind of ways of dealing with life, I started doing the same thing too. My point of reference is my surroundings. My teachers are everybody around me, all the men around me. My father, hardcore at burying emotions, not expressing feelings. Neighbors, fathers, hardcore the same way, really tough. So when I would encounter trouble as a teenager, I would confront it, you know. I would immediately have the attitude of, all right, well, what's this guy going to do, you know? He ain't shit, you know, thinking those kind of attitudes, having that kind of state of mind and thinking, whatever, you know, I'll beat his ass, just whatever. You know, so right away, just thinking like that creates this intention in your mind to attract that confrontation. And that's what would happen, you know. There would end up being confrontations and fights and all that. So that just goes to prove, you know, how your intentions attract energy, you know. But mostly, once people start getting older, it can be an unconscious attraction where you're really going after something, but yet maybe somewhere deep down, you have some kind of a blockage where you don't really want to succeed at something. You stop yourself in some kind of way. You self-sabotage in some kind of way. Like with relationships. I know I've done that before. When I meet a really nice girl, when I have way in the past, someone who's really open, and just straight up honest about who they are and being really open about their relationship with their mother, father. You know, then when it comes my turn to explain and talk about who I am, I was just closed up. I wasn't about to talk about that kind of stuff. I would close up and distract or, you know, turn the conversation towards something else, television or music or whatever I did that day. You know, I remember, like the first girl I fell in love with, I did all that with. You know, I kept not opening up, and she would pick up on it. She wouldn't say nothing, though. She was really nice. She had a good heart. She would just allow me to be who I am, but only for so long, you know. And eventually she went out. She called it all off, and it broke my heart. Well, yeah. You know, so I had an unconscious intention to really stop that relationship because I really didn't want to open up at the time. I was just involved in like gang activity, being a gang member. This is when I was a teenager. And I was doing a lot of drinking and drugs. So I was really distracting myself, and I had a perception of women, a demeaning, negative perception of women, you know. So I had that unconscious intention. I think it was kind of conscious too. Yeah, I really didn't want to get close to somebody. You know, you just want to fool around, you know, fool around with as many women as possible, you know, when you're younger or when you're older, whoever people are. We are who we are, you know, but yeah, your intentions really attract the energy that's coming into your life. So if you're really not aware, or you're wondering why am I always encountering this same type of a person in a relationship? You know, there's something inside that you're not aware of. You know, you got to become aware of it. You know, you got to search your consciousness. You got to take time for yourself, be alone, really search your consciousness, go back and recall relationships you've been in and how you reacted to them. You know, because we bury things inside, and that creates stagnant energy in the body and in the aura, and in the long run that can create disease, short run sicknesses, and like somebody like Tupac Shakur, the rapper who died in the mid 90s sometime. You know, you see interviews with him. He was already talking about, I'm gonna die before I'm 30, and it's gonna be a violent death, or I think he was saying stuff like that. I know he was saying he was gonna be killed because of all of this, how he was handling himself in the world, on the streets, and being all tough and gangster and all that stuff, you know. And eventually, look what happened. He ended up dying, and that other guy too, Biggie Smalls. His last album was called Ready to Die. I think that was his last album, you know, and I mean, you're already attracting that vibe of ready to die, you know, and look what happened. He ended up dying, you know. So it's important to really search your consciousness, search your unconscious, and be aware of why you're stopping yourself from evolving, from getting the things that you want. This is what I love about shamanism. It's the real meat and bones of the universe. It's not about religion, but religion has some good benefits or whatever, to each his own. For me, shamanism tells it like it is. You know, if you're feeling bad, you want to search your feelings. You don't want to ignore your feelings and be put on a little nice happy face. You know, you want to search your feelings and find out what's bothering you. How legitimate is it? When did it happen? Why did it happen? How can you get over it? What experience, what memory is causing you to feel this way? You know, understanding yourself. And yeah, I was going to say understanding your astrology, Vedic astrology, understanding your chart, how these different energies from these planets affect you too is a really good way to do that. And yeah, if anybody wants that's all I wanted to talk about. I'm gravitating towards my sales pitch. But if anyone wants the Thunder Astrology reading, I'll leave the link on the bottom. So that's all I wanted to talk about. Be positive. Attract the right energy in your life. Keep those intentions on your goals, on your soul, your true soul. And we'll live happily ever after. All right. Peace.